So this is the Panasonic G7. This camera was actually released in 2015, records 4K up to 30 FPS and 60 frames in HD. This camera comes with a viewfinder, a flip-out screen, and generally the body is really a very compact one. As at the time of making this video, this camera was actually retailing on Amazon for an amount of $597, and that is the Panasonic G7 for you. This camera is something that I've been using it myself for some time now, and it's something that I do recommend for beginners. Alright guys, I don't know where the camera was going to just after I had finished speaking about it. Now, as a filmmaker, one of the major questions I get always is, which camera should I buy? I'm just a beginner and I'm trying to get into video. Now, if you have these questions in mind, then you are actually at the right place, because I'm going to be sharing with you my top 5 picks for very affordable budget cameras for people who are just getting into video. Now, these cameras that I'm going to be talking about can also take pictures as well, but as much as possible, I selected cameras that can do video comparatively better than pictures. And so if you're here to find out about which camera would work best for you, I suggest you watch this video to the end, because I'm going to be sharing with you all these my picks. Like I always say, I wish the question of which camera should I buy is simple enough for me to just tell you that get this particular camera and that is all. Unfortunately, it is not as easy as you think. You need to know what you want to use the camera for in order to be able to select a camera that works best in your situation. But regardless of what your situation is, any of these cameras on this list would work better for you depending on your budget. We've already spoken about the Panasonic G7. This camera is one camera that I recommend so much for people because of its compact nature and because you can get 4K out of this body in less than $1,000. Now, is this camera flawless or perfect? No, I don't think so. Just like with any other cameras, there are actually some quirks with this. For example, just look at where the battery compartment is placed. So when you have your quick release plate here, you can't actually take out your battery, and so you have to take off your tripod completely before you are able to mount a separate battery into this camera, and that is actually very, very annoying about this camera. And me personally, aside from this, everything about this camera is cool. And guys, we are talking about Panasonic here. Panasonic cameras generally don't have really good autofocusing system, but they generally come packed with a lot of features. Now, straight away, that takes me to the next camera on the list, which is the Canon M50. This camera was actually released in 2018, comes with a 24.1 megapixel CMOS sensor, and is available in black and white color versions, and it has a built-in electronic viewfinder. And this camera rocks the new Canon GX9 processor, meaning a lot of things in this camera is actually going to be in high speed, which leads me to the autofocusing system of this camera. Canon's dual pixel autofocusing system is one of the best, and this camera actually comes in rocking this dual pixel autofocusing system from Canon, which has eye detect autofocus. So what this camera does is that when you are filming a human being like I'm doing, it locks, or it detects the human eye and locks the focus exactly on the human eye. So wherever the human being goes within the frame, the person's face or eyes are totally going to be very, very sharp throughout the whole thing. If you're serious about video, and especially if your videos are going on YouTube, sometimes just having autofocus is very key, or will help you to be able to turn out videos very quickly. And that also gives you the chance to absolutely concentrate on the content of the video rather than concentrating on how to tweak focus or how to make sure that your subject is always in focus. So aside that, this camera also comes in with a flip out screen, Wi-Fi for quick transfer of images between your computer and the camera, or your mobile phone and the camera. This little beast actually records in 4K up to 30 frames per second. It can also do slow motion, which is 120 frames per second at 720p. and the body, as you can see, is really a very compact one. And now, as at the time of making this video, this camera actually retails on Amazon for an amount of $649 US, and this includes a 15 to 45 millimeter kit lens. And if you're a beginner and you are buying a camera, I generally recommend that you buy the camera with at least a kit lens. And now that naturally leads us to the next camera on our list, which is the Panasonic GX9. This camera was actually released in 2018. It comes with a 20.3 megapixels digital live CMOS sensor. It has 5-axis image stabilization. It also has a tiltable viewfinder and LCD all inbuilt. It is a very compact small body, and as at the time of making this video, this camera was actually retailing on Amazon for an amount of $797.99. That leads us to the next camera on our list. Now, the next cameras we are going to be talking about are a little bit on the $1,000 threshold, but trust me, what these cameras can do is actually worth the money. And the first camera that we are going to be talking about in that category is the Sony A6100. This camera you see here was actually released in 2019. This camera comes in with a 24.2 megapixels, and it is actually an APS-C sensor camera. This camera has high sensitivity ISO recordings, and it also has real-time autofocusing system which tracks the face of the subject. This camera you see right here also records 4K up to 30 FPS. And oh goodness, this camera actually records slow motion at 120 FPS at 1920 by 1080, which is full HD. This camera also has a flip-up screen, and it comes in with a very compact body. Now, is this camera that perfect? No, just like every other camera. One thing I particularly don't like about this camera is the fact that the screen flips up. You might think that is a good thing, but after flipping the screen up, then you would realize that if you have a microphone that you've mounted on the camera, which will enable you to be able to record audio, then it blocks the screen completely, and it doesn't actually make sense having the screen being a tilt up. So it's actually more of a disadvantage than it is an advantage. However, if you can live with that, I do recommend you to get this camera. And as at the time of making this video, this camera actually was retailing on Amazon for an amount of $1,999.95. And this takes us to the final camera on this list, which is my number one pick for you if you are just getting into video and you are a beginner and you are not too sure of which camera you should get. And that camera is the Canon EOS M6 Mark II. This camera was actually released in 2019. It comes with a whopping 32.5 megapixels, and this is a CMOS sensor, of course, using Canon's new GX9 processor. And as we already mentioned earlier, when you hear GX9 processor being used by Canon in any of their cameras, then you know what is coming: high speed performance. So in that sense, this camera comes in with autofocusing system. In fact, one of the most flawless autofocusing system implemented in a camera of this size, a camera of its caliber, a camera under $2,000. And so it has a removable or attachable electronic viewfinder which you can attach to the camera body. And it doesn't just end there, it also comes in with a flip-up screen, and it also comes stock with Wi-Fi. This camera can record 4K up to 30 FPS and a whopping 120 frames in full HD. Isn't this cool, guys? And all this, you are going to be getting all this for an amount of $1,399 at the time of making this video that it was retailing on Amazon. This camera's body, as you can see, is really a very compact one, and I just can't recommend this camera enough, guys. I know it's a little bit on the $1,000 side, but if you have that extra amount of money to spend on a very good beginner camera, I would recommend you get this beast right here, because you can never go wrong with this particular camera. I just can't stress how important I would recommend you to buy this particular camera. If you're a photographer or you rather really want to get into photography, let me know in the comment section below so that I'll make another video which is also targeted at cameras that I recommend for people who want to get into photography or who are just beginners and are interested in getting into the photo side of things. Or on the other hand, if you really want very good hybrid cameras, which is cameras that can do video very well at the same time do pictures very well, let me also know in the comment section below so that I'll make another video which talks about hybrid cameras or cameras which do photography and videography very well at the same time. These are my top 5 picks for you guys out there who are just wanting to get into videography or who are just wanting to get into the video side of things. These are the mirrorless which may work very well for you if you don't have thousands of dollars to spend on a camera. And guys, if you did enjoy this video, make sure to click the thumbs up button because it goes a long way in helping us make such awesome content like this on this Africa Amaze channel. And if you're new here, guys, kindly consider clicking on the subscribe button and hitting the notification icon so that you get notified anytime we drop awesome content like this on this Africa Amaze channel. If you're new here, we talk about photography, videography, editing, and all its related branches right here from Africa. And guys, before I end today's episode, I know for those of you in Ghana or in every part of Africa, sometimes it's actually a challenge trying to buy some of these cameras from Amazon or generally buying products from outside of Africa. Now, I've actually found a way that you can actually import or buy things directly from Amazon or any other online store and get them shipped to you in Ghana or Kenya. For now, these are the 2 countries that I've discovered what to do. So if you're a Kenyan or you are a Ghanaian from West Africa and you want to see me make a video and you want to learn this technique on how to buy things online and get them shipped, especially photography stuff, but this works with generally any kind of goods that you actually want to buy online and have them brought to you right here in Ghana. Thank you so much for watching this video, and as always, I would catch you in the next one. Until next time, as always, guys, keep practicing filmmaking. Peace out. And oh, I hope you like my new studio.